our fearless leader, PM Justin Trudeau, went to his favorite vacationing spot over in Tofino. Love that spot. Gets to surf, gets to sunbathe, gets to
show the upper arms.
Bare arms, the only bearing arms he actually believes in. And do his thing up on the beach over there. Kean Bext works with the counter signal. Believe he founded it. Gets on a plane, finds out where this man's at, goes to this very off the beaten path locale in coast of BC, tracks down Trudeau on the beach with his family, and starts grilling him on things he's done as prime minister, yada yada.
He waited there for 4 hours, he said. He waited there on the beach. He was like, I know the motorcade is here. I can see that there's security detail around. He's like, I know he's here. I know he's here. Waited on the beach for 4 hours to see him.
To get a 12-minute interview with this man. And it was chaos. It was very chaotic to watch it all transpire. Obviously, he put Trudeau in a very impossible situation where, it was kind of a weird, you see the video where, it was, I guess, Trudeau's entourage, or I don't want to say his entourage, like clearly his family.
Security detail.
I don't even think it was a security detail because it looked like guys who looked like they just got off vacation themselves. It was like 4 or 5 people, and they definitely didn't look like security. It looked like people that were actually like his friends who were trying to get in between him and Kean. And then Trudeau just actually tried to de-escalate the situation himself. He's like, you know what? No, let's go for a walk. Let's go for a chat. And he gave him a 12-minute interview. And obviously it went the way it went, as you would expect with someone like that, but the way Trudeau operates.
I'm going to stop you for 1 second, though. He de-escalated that after he laid hands on him, though, and grabbed him.
Actually, no, he laid hands on him after that. Was it? Oh, yeah, laid hands on him. Family got involved. Yeah. Then he was like, no, let's go for a walk. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So it was kind of a whole thing was kind of weird, but I think you and I see this from very 2 different perspectives. Okay. And so I'm going to allow you to go first on what happened here and what did you grab from this interview that Kean had with him?
So what I thought was interesting is that I really kind of don't like the idea that we have to track people down on their vacations in order to talk to them. I think that it shows that we've gotten to a state in our political sphere where we are not allowing reporters to talk in the avenues that they should be allowed to talk. He kind of went on to say, I've tried to attend the media briefings. I've tried to go to these different open forums where I would be allowed to ask questions, and I've been escorted out. I've been told that I'm not vetted and I can't ask questions. And that's where I kind of have a problem with all this, is that I think that if he would have been allowed to actually ask his questions in the correct channels, and where I think that, honestly, I think that anybody should be able to go to these situations and say, I want to ask the Prime Minister X, whether you're part of legacy media or you're not. And that is the forum for this. And that's just not how it works in Canada. And so he kind of said, I don't have the opportunity to ask you these questions, so I'm going to track you down, find you, and ask you these questions. I do think that as a human being, that Trudeau should have time with his family alone, away from the spotlight, away from media, to be able to spend time with his family. I totally get that. He put that out there, and he put that out there as a pretty solid narrative. And I don't know if that was just him saying it to try and control the conversation, or if that was him being genuine. It's so hard to tell with him. But I do think the fact remains that I think that people need time and need their own privacy. And I know that if I was a politician and that was me, I wouldn't appreciate that. However, what do you do in a scenario where you have somebody who's limiting free speech so badly in the country that that's the only opportunity you have to talk to somebody and ask them a question? Because he just is completely dodging it. And it was funny because he called him, he said he's hiding out in Tofino right now. He's hiding from his caucus and he's not taking questions. So as, the leader of our country, I'm going to go ask him some questions. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't really love it, but I understand why it happened. And so that's kind of where I sit with it. The things that came out of Trudeau's mouth, though,
they were interesting. They were wild.
That was what I was just like, oh man, you're a narcissist, like real bad. Like everybody says he's a narcissist, and it's like I've heard that, and I've been like, yeah, I think it's kind of wild that he won't step down. He'd rather see his party burn to the ground. But then when he's just like, I work harder than most Canadians, I was just like
that was tough.
Oh,
that was tough.
So I did a little number digging for you, just for fun on that specific quote. So in his tenure, he's taken around 680 days as personal days, which represents 24% of his time. The average Canadian, if we're looking at them getting all the 12 stat holidays, if they take 5 sick leave days, which they're usually entitled to, and get 3 weeks vacation, which is another 15 days, that's 32 days or 9% of their working year they get as their own personal time. So dude, what the heck are you saying? Like you're like 2.5 times the amount of personal time than the average Canadian. And that's a good average Canadian who's getting all of the stat holidays, all of the vacation that they're entitled to, and then also taking all 5 sick days. Like ridiculous. So for him to be like, oh, I'm working harder than the rest of Canada, like shut up.
And the problem is that the amount that he's taken off, like I get it from like a normal person's perspective. I think it's really important to get your vacation, get your time off. Obviously, we're taking a month to break ourselves. But when you're leading a nation, there's different rules that apply to you, I'm sorry to say. And as much as I didn't like the guy and how he did his thing, Obama was always working. Like that man didn't take a whole lot of days off. Like he was always like, because there's so much at stake. Like there's just so much at stake. And I just don't think Trudeau ever understood the position he's in. He never really fully understood that he's a leader of a country. He understood that he could control people. He loved that people gave him attention. But I don't think he fully understood really what the responsibilities of a leader really were of a country. And this showed all of that. Seeing how much time he's taken off and then turn around saying, I work harder than the rest of you jabronis. Get better, be me. Get out of my face, bro. It was rough.
Okay. Well, I'm curious to see where your disagreement with me is.
I wouldn't say it's a disagreement with you. I'm disagreeing with Kean on this one. I get why he did it. I understand his perspective of like, wow, I've been shut out for 9 years on this guy. I'm finally going to get a chance to have a conversation with him. Totally get that. The problem is, from a normal, super normie political perspective, people who don't really pay attention all the time, but this kind of like pop in from time to time, this was such a big L. Like they see this and they're just like, who's this guy? Who's another person just hassling the prime minister again? Like it's just like normal people look at this and think, Kean, I love you. I think you're a great dude. But like normal people are looking at this saying, you kind of look like a loser. Like it has that vibe, and unfortunately I have to say it. And it just kind of reeks of desperation in some ways. And I say that because there was no, like obviously we talked about what kind of came out of the little bit that was shared outside the paywall. But there really wasn't a whole lot of bombshell moments of this interview. Like his questions weren't like groundbreaking. It was just kind of stuff we all knew already. He was just going over stuff we already knew. I don't fully understand what if it's one thing to finally get the opportunity, have a chance conversation with them. But I just thought better questions would have been asked. That's all. That was my perspective on it, and I feel like it was a bit of a waste.
Yeah, I still think that, like I said, I still think that the fact that he grabbed him on vacation, like I don't know how they're going to try and spin that, because I think maybe I can see how they would spin it to say like, look, Trudeau's on vacation again, and then you're gonna get left-wing media who's gonna say, look, this man's just trying to take a breather and he's being hassled even when he's, just. So I just think that it's, I don't know what it adds. I agree. Like I said, outside of that comment though, like I don't know what it really adds, because we all knew that he was in love with himself. So the fact that he said that, I think that's really damning to him politically, but I just think it's a weird moment.
And as well too, where, and I understand why the interview's behind a paywall. I totally get it. Like they expended a lot of money to try and get Keane on the beach there when they found out where Trudeau was going to be. But I'm like, if there really was something of substance in that interview, 100% that would have been clipped and shared by now to get people to pay to go watch the interview. I didn't see anything that was like clip worthy in anything that's been released.
So I watched the interview, the whole thing.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I didn't really find that there was a whole lot in it. I mean, he asks him about the Online Harms Act and saying, if this is really about children, why didn't you, or why wouldn't you separate these two pieces of legislation that you kind of jammed together? This seems like it's just censoring Canadians. And he doesn't really speak to it very much. He just kind of like, no, it's not about that. And then they kind of move on. And then he asked another question about, why he's not speaking to his caucus. And Trudeau's like, I'm not speaking to my caucus. I'm just on vacation right now. So it just, I didn't find that there was like you said, anything groundbreaking. The only thing that I thought was funny was the clip about him being the hardest worker in the room. Yeah. And I was like, man,
it's tough.
Everybody talks about the orange man being like not very humble. And like, we got our own version. He's just got better hair.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's tough that way. So that's like, again, I appreciate for the most part what Counter Signal does. I've met some of the people over there. I haven't met Keane personally, but like, seen him from afar, similar circles. But that was just like, I understand that trying to seize an opportunity. I just feel like it just missed a bit. That's all. That was electric, wasn't it? Well, we enjoyed it. Hope you did too. If you did, you can check this video out here to the top right corner right near my window. Get over. There it is right there. And if you liked that, you can also check this one right here. We love you. Have a good one. Peace out.